Welcome to Clixed Off, brought to you by Lucky Dice Cafe out of Huntsville, Alabama. Check them out at luckydicecafé.com. And now for your hosts, Daniel Powell, Jason Alvey, Alex Coos, and Tyler Spees.
Hey everybody, welcome to Clixed Off today. This is your host Daniel Powell speaking. Just want to let everybody know that Clixed Off is brought to you by TrollandToad.com, the world's largest HeroClix retailer. Find HeroClix new and old on TrollandToad.com and use coupon code CLIXEDOFF for 5% off your HeroClix order. Merchant and pre-order items do not apply. If you like what you're listening to today on Clixed Off, check us out. Patreon.com/ClixedOff. $1 and above gets entered into our monthly giveaways. $5 and above gets entered into our Discord server for HeroClix strategy and tactics. And joining me tonight is Jason. Feels like he needs a margarita and some wings. Alvey.
Hell yeah, that sounds great.
Yeah.
Let's get with it.
So, Alex will be joining us here in a little bit, but we wanted to go ahead and get started because it's already 10 minutes after 9, and yeah.
We have jobs enrolled.
Yeah, I have a dentist appointment tomorrow morning, so.
You way to wake up the day, huh?
Yeah, it's fine. I wanted to start off today with a food-related thought for everybody. Jason, I want to put you on the Taco Bell Cantina Chicken Bowl. And by extension, their entire chicken cantina menu.
That shit seemed a little overpriced to me.
What the fuck's not overpriced?
I don't know. That's a good question.
So it's like,
was it pretty good?
Yeah, it's pretty good. It's like it's a very set and well portioned Chipotle.
Okay.
So your calories and your macros for everything are really well set. They're consistent. The flavor's consistent. The scoops are consistent. A lot of things that you don't. I'm not saying it's a better flavor than Chipotle. I'm saying it's more consistent. That chicken cantina bowl with the avocado salsa packet is only 540 calories, and it is slaps.
That's not bad.
So you got beans and rice and tomatoes and lettuce and chicken and salsa, and you can even ask for extra chicken. I mean, obviously you gotta pay for it, but.
Okay, well, I'm probably going to try that tomorrow then.
Yeah, I had one for supper tonight. It's pretty great.
Yep.
So, and then Alec Musser asks, we're going to get the food stuff out of the way. What is one food beverage that never sounds good until you see it right in front of you? For him, it's Sprite. When he's walking out, he's never yearning for it, but it looks so good right when he sees it.
Food or beverage, huh?
I mean,
I don't know. I don't know if there's anything that ever just doesn't sound good until I see it. Like,
yeah, I don't know, man. It's
I mean, I like what I like.
Maybe that's more of a question for.
Like.
Yeah, it's more of a question for Alex probably because nothing really. I don't know. We're two bigger fellas, so you know.
Yeah, I mean, I like what I like.
Yeah.
I don't know. I can't say I've ever if I see a soda I just want it after I see it. I don't. Nah. If I don't like it, I don't like it. I think.
Yeah.
Maybe I'll forget about something, and then if I see it, oh yeah, that sounds good, but I haven't. It just hasn't come to my forethought of my front of my mind. But,
I would say that fundamentally, I'd agree with you, but that means I've currently forgotten about it.
Right. I'm sitting here trying to think of what that might be, and I don't know what the hell that would be.
Right. Yeah. I don't know. It's probably. Golly, I don't know. I've been eating a lot. I don't know. like, we just recently got our Costco memberships back a few weeks ago, and I forgot how good the Costco ground bison is.
That sounds good.
Yeah, it's really good. So I've been doing a lot of grilling.
Yeah, I didn't know I might want that until I heard about it. So.
Right. Yeah. So I don't know. There's it's pretty much what doesn't sound good, and I've
never had bison before.
It tastes just like beef, but it's a little bit leaner.
Does it?
Yeah, a little more.
Okay.
A little bit different flavor profile, but it's pretty much the same vibe. But I would say, like, I'm more adventurous than Jason when it comes to food.
For sure.
There's probably nothing I wouldn't try. Like, I wouldn't. There is a few things I wouldn't try. I said probably nothing. But
there's all kinds of shit I wouldn't try.
Yeah, like nothing in the bug family, like crickets and stuff like that. No, thank you. It's completely off the list.
No. Mm-mm.
So.
Yeah, if it resembles the animal it used to be, I'm not eating it.
Yeah. So does that mean rotisserie chicken's off the block for you, Jason?
It doesn't resemble it enough at that point.
Okay, gotcha.
Bugs are, they look just like bugs. I mean,
yeah. I guess probably bugs would be about it. I would think.
If it's looking at me, I'm not eating it.
I mean, I used to not like sushi, and I know that you're not a sushi guy.
I mean, I like seafood, but I'm not eating uncooked stuff.
Oh yeah. Sign me up for a big old tuna sashimi steak, a little bit of soy sauce and some wasabi. That's pretty hard to beat.
I don't know. When I'm thinking about seafood, I'm thinking about going back to that Grecian steakhouse out on the way you're back or forth to Orleans. So we can have some of that catfish.
I was just thinking about that whenever we book the rooms for World, which, by the way, the room block for Worlds is open if y'all haven't seen that yet. But man, that Grecian steakhouse in Dyersburg, Tennessee, I sure hope it hasn't closed or something.
Oh, I can't imagine. It's too good. Like, it was pretty busy every time we've been there.
Yeah, we've been there twice, and I'm going to look it up real quick.
That buffet, man.
I type in Grecian steakhouse, and the only one that comes up is the one in Dyersburg, Tennessee on autocomplete. Now, that might be because we're close to it. I mean, close-ish, but no, it's still open. So, Sunday from 11 to 9, we will be going by there on Sunday. Hopefully, celebrating one of us winning the world championship in modern. But
that would be great. Either way, we're still having fish.
Yeah, either way, we're celebrating or drowning our sorrows in fried catfish, one way or the other.
Yeah. It's going to be good either way.
Yeah. So, food aside, Jason, I have to issue a clarification for folks that didn't listen very well last episode that you weren't on.
Yeah.
So
I know what you're talking about.
Right. So I'll repeat the statement. The best of my ability, I didn't have it wrote down in front of me here, is if you like Ivies and you demonized Thanos, you're a hypocrite. Now, I got my first anonymous post in HeroClix Smack Talk about all of this. So the point to all of that is, it is okay if you like Ivies. It is okay if you liked Thanos. It is not okay if you were the one actively campaigning against Thanos and you think that Ivies are okay. That is hypocritical behavior. Ivies are worse than Thanos was. Pure and simple. To a whole lot of teams. Because quite simply, Thanos was countered by the emotional modifier for the vast majority of his time in Modern. What were you going to say, Jason?
I said, is it because Thanos had to leave the starting area?
He had to leave the starting area. That would been one reason. And the most he was doing at any point in time was 6 damage. And defending himself. The Ivies just don't have to defend themselves. They only take 2 damage at a time. So most teams cannot deal enough attacks to them before they do 12 for 5 over and over and over to them. Because it's, what are they, 45 points apiece?
And they're 45 points apiece.
Yeah, so 4 4s are 160, then the 580 points. So there's 5 more points than Thanos for 4 of them. And then you have a supporting squad, right? Thanos had his supporting squad to get him to 6 damage and 13 range, right?
Right.
So, but...
They're not nearly as mobile as Thanos, and they don't have the blocking terrain defending them.
So folks forget that Thanos didn't hide behind barrier until the complainers made him do so.
Oh, I just remember him hiding behind the map. That's what I remember.
The Realm of Death was its own. And so my secondary point there is
was a problem.
Is that Realm of Death was a problem? I agree. But so is Morlock Tunnels with the addition of terrain. It is just as bad.
Yeah, Morlock Tunnels is definitely a problem.
Morlock Tunnels is definitely a problem. And folks can't put those two together because, there's this, Ivy's is something, Ivy's is unique, Ivy does prepared teams, whatever. It
depends on who you're talking to. Either they're the worst thing ever or they're not that big a deal. It depends on who you talk to.
Yeah. And, I've looked at teams for people. I've reviewed teams for people, and all I can say is, if you do not have an Alpha Strike on Morlock Tunnels, and you can't tell me how you're getting to the middle of the starting area, then you have to tell me how your team takes 12 for 5 4 times. Plus
it's pretty rough to take 12 for 5. And it's more than 12 for 5.
It's 13 for 5, yeah.
Or 14.
Yeah. Then your team, you have to tell
me. Depending on the build.
Depending on the build, depending on the tarots, right? There's Empower tarot cards. Yeah, you're right. Depending on all of that, right? It's like, tell me how your team takes that. And, I mean... The answer is, well, it probably doesn't make it.
You definitely can't take your time crossing the map against them. No. That's for sure.
You absolutely can't. Now...
I don't know. On one hand, it does something that I love, which is take the goodness of one figure and multiply it times however many.
Right.
that you can put on there.
Jason, are you thinking about playing more than one Ivy?
I mean, thoughts crossed my mind.
Oh, watch out!
I thought about playing Krakoa, and they just bent him over today. So
they did. So I was thinking about maybe having an organized, run through of things here today, but that's just not probably likely. So I would say
that's not how we roll.
It's not. We can I would like to go in kind of chronological order.
We don't have to go off that tangent just yet.
We don't have to just yet. So let's go off chronological order real quick. I want to talk just a little bit about the Midwest Regional Clix Championship that I was so fortunate to attend and win this weekend.
Yeah, let's get the nice positive stuff out of it right now.
Yeah, I suppose so. So I tell you what, Jason, do you want to know the best possible venue for a HeroClix event?
I hear this National Guard Armory is pretty sweet.
Do you want to know why it's a National Guard Armory?
You told me it was because you tell the bathrooms were extra, extra clean.
The bathrooms were toothbrushed clean. And it was good vibes all day. It was probably the cleanest and nicest venue I've ever been to. The aforementioned bathrooms. Now Keith did a great job. His wife and her bakery cooked really good food every day.
Oh, that was his wife's bakery. How that was doing the food. Okay, I didn't realize that.
Yeah, so they had.
I'm sad. I didn't get to go. I had to work that weekend, unfortunately. So.
Right. So all of that, all the food was good. The rounds were ran really well. They answered the judge questions well. Richard did the main judging for the modern, and it was a really great overall, well-ran weekend.
That's awesome.
Now, what I played against in modern, let me start off with the 2v2 event real quick. Wesley Robertson was gracious enough to partner with me for that event on the last minute, and we had a great time. We ended up making second place in the 2v2 team sealed event. And Wesley's main question to me was, what would we have done different in team sealed other than picking a different teammate? Wesley did a great job sticking to our plan and doing a really good job playing his team out really well. So we got 5 boosters of Deadpool Weapon X. My team, so we talked about it earlier in the week, and our plan was build one really good team and then piece together what we could with the secondary team.
So how did they score this? It's like it's 2v2, so like
right. So what?
It was just total points, or
wins then points, right? So if you went 2-0, you definitely won.
Okay.
Is then 1v1 or one win on each side, you went by points and who won.
Okay.
So we were lucky enough to pull 2 super rares. We did not pull any chases. My team ended up being Super Rare Gambit, Super Rare Scarlet Witch, Jubilee at full, Mystique, Multiple Man, Beast, and Low Dial Psylocke. So I had a really great squad. And then Wesley played Strife at low, Sabretooth at full, Cannonball, a Jeff the Land Shark, Iceman, and Shatterstar. So, not the greatest of sealed teams that you could have had. But at any rate, we went 3-0 through Swiss. Then we played our last round again in the final, and my dice finally pooped out on me. I was doing a good job of hitting 8s all day, and I just couldn't hit 8s anymore. And then Wesley needed to score some points in the finals, and we just played those guys back to back, so there was they knew what we were doing. So it was who was his partner? Noah. So it was Noah and Jacob Bishop. They ended up winning. So it was a great time. So I would not have changed anything we did, Wesley. We did the best we could with what they had. They pulled a chase in 2 or 3 super rares. I think they had like Deadpool and Hitmonkey, Wolverine pool, and I don't know, some other really good stuff. So it was an uphill battle for sure. So it was really well. Really ran well. So I'd like to talk a little bit quickly about what I played In Modern, there were 14 people. We played 4 rounds of Swiss and then a top 4. I went 6-0 throughout all of that. I played Kong with
Mystical Kong.
Yeah, Mystical Kong. Jason dubbed the team Super Smash Monkeys. We actually built the team mostly on Wednesday at B-Dubs before the event, because I was previously on Kong and Surfer Monsters with Mern.
And Mern, right?
Yep.
Yep.
And then I was like, well, what does it look like if we played Kong and Wong Mystical? And then you were like, well, drop the Wong, play another Kong that gets you the gods and Chthon, so you can get your healing like
Madison.
you want. And Madison. So KC Green Lantern was our first pick there. And you came up with the Madison idea. So we tweaked it around.
Which I think worked out good. Lot of perplex.
A ton of perplex. A ton of attack values. Black Heart with the Blue Lantern ring was huge.
And the probs.
Yeah. In the probs. So it started.
Inquisitor and Khonshu.
Well, Khonshu was huge. I started with Doom Supreme on the build. And then Scott Porter, Sinestro Porter, Black Shirt Porter, Madison. Started with Doom Supreme. A pretty easy reason there. Doom Supreme started on the build so that I could get a Mutt's Tomb to 6 on turn 1. So that's it. No other reason. I needed 4 actions to do that. Kong gets you 4. Blackheart doing an action gets you 5. Doom Supreme getting you an action gets you 6. I guess I realize now that Madison could have done the other one instead of Blackheart if the Empower was there. If I had just placed her next to that. But typically, I was placing Blackheart next to Scott Porter and an Iron Inquisitor for the shield to launch on the Alpha. I mean, and it's a super straightforward play a lot of times. Big Monkey, go smash. Big Monkey, go smash. Set him next to his buddy so that they have 20s. You have a probs or 2 on their clapback. And and then Chthon Kong is a 21 as long as he's next to one of his buddies. And you just brunt the attack. And I played against so many rollout teams. That Ghost Rider 048, like everybody was getting their rollouts, and I get that. They were a lot of the folks that I played into the counter for Ivies, which was my team, I suppose.
Yeah.
And Kongs can just attack so much that eventually their rollouts fail. One of the questions I got during the stream is, what about your leadership? Don't need it. Just rarely, ever did I need a leadership. Kongs de-token themselves really well. We all know this. And then by the time you get your alpha done, like you only need 2 actions on the alpha. You can move up something else with your 3rd action. Like a lot of times I was bringing up Inquisitor, like walking Inquisitor to be carried by a Kong, so that I could swap it out or leave him out. I swap him out to King Killmonger, who also shares Ruler, so he gets the defense bump as well. So, other than that, I mean, once those 4 guys were up there, attacking 3 times, quaking, and then Blackheart and Killmonger making attacks or Inquisitor making attacks, most of the time you didn't need to do much else. Like, it was all gone.
Yeah, Kong's good at crowd control.
Yeah. And they all wanted, like a lot of teams I played, wanted to group up around their 048 Ghost Rider. Well, Quake. Roll your shape changes. Roll your super senses. Quake. 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 Quake.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it's pretty simple as that. You know, his penetrating damage came into play a whole bunch. The Mutt's Tomb extra damage next to debris was huge. A lot of times I was doing 4 damage quakes. I mean, it's really a fun team to play. But, you know, I mean, if it gets attacked and they have a high enough attack value, they'll start to whittle away on the Kongs and the Blackheart. Blackheart got yeeted every game, almost. And then, but you know who didn't ever get KO'd?
Yep. No, it's not who you think.
It's not who you think. It's Madison.
Yep.
Because every time they would go to attack her, I'd go, uh-oh, whoop, go over here to the other side of the map. I had never, had you played Madison before? I guess I had played her in Pulp.
We played her in Pulp a little. I think we played her, and I played her in Sealed or something. Yeah.
So
and
I'll just read her real quick, just in case we have a short memory out there. She's got shape change, and once per game, when Madison would take damage, you may instead place Madison adjacent to a friendly character with a mystical keyword. If you do, turn her to click 3. That's anywhere on the map. So if they're engaging you over here, Madison would go take damage. Yeet.
Yeah, just loop away.
Yeah. I didn't do as well as I wanted to with my rolls with her at the beginning of the turn, but like I always made sure that it was legal with what I did. And then just a lot of times, honestly, too, her single perplex was fine. Like if I had a bad turn where I couldn't get her adjacent for the double perplex, a lot of times the single perplex was all I needed.
Right. And even if she moves 2 away, it's if you can like sized up with porters or something adjacent, you're adjacent to 2 perplex.
And you know what was probably the best part about Madison?
What's that?
Underworld.
Yeah, sharing the underworld keyword or team ability. I mean,
yeah. Bringing that team ability to any team is huge. But it's passenger 1, but only to carry a character that shares a keyword. Great, right? Like Scott Porter now carries up an MOE. You know.
Yeah.
That it's just awesome.
Yeah, that is pretty nice.
So everybody in top 4, I just review the teams real quick. Because a lot of it was, like, I played Josiah from Louisville. He played Spider-Man with the symbiote, Ghost Rider with the motorcycle, World's Finest with the utility belt, Space Ghost with Warlock, Madam Web, and then Lucas Scott PJ. It was just a fun game of HeroClix. Because you just sit there and smashed on each other. And Kong ended up smashing him better. Twice during the event. Because I played him in round 3, I think, or round 4. And played him again in top 8. Or top 4. But a really great team. The only thing is unless, on this team, and unless the Page of Pentacles comes up, he doesn't really have full map reach with Spider-Man. So he can TK and he can run Spider-Man all the way out, and of course Space Ghost has that super great perplex ability. But I mean, man, he is limited on being able to cross a big map against the Ivies. And you know, and then Madam Web and Lucas Scott PJ just get KO'd by Ivies. So, I mean, it's this weird circle, like, I guess where a lot of people would want to say, oh, you know, it's, you know, if you do this, if you do that, if you do this, if you do that. Well, the problem is that, like, if he plays Kongs, he can roll out and attack them. And you get to have a game. If he plays against Ivies, he almost certainly loses a third of his squad turn 2. That's not fun. So that's the point I want y'all to think about with these teams that performed really well in an event without Ivies. I know Ivy showed up. Everybody just wanted to have a good time, I guess. And then I played Brandon Hogan. I did play him in the last round of Swiss. That was who I played. And then Brandon was playing Kong Blackheart as well. He was playing Captain America on a horse, Genesis, and 2 porters. Brandon made the mistake, and of course all this stuff is streamed on the Clixed Off YouTube. Go to the live tab. Brandon made the mistake of moving up on turn 1. He didn't see where I had the ability with Blackheart to jump out 8 squares. And I jumped out on 8 squares on that map. It was on Chemical Plant. And placed my figures, and his turn 1 saw the loss of his Captain America, and some Kongs wounded. I may have killed his Blackheart too. I think I killed his Blackheart and his Captain America on turn 1.
I'm surprised that still gets people sometimes. I mean, we were doing that back at Adepticon.
Yeah, we're doing it at Adepticon. We talked about it on the show then. So, the final game was against Jacob Bishop, who was just a real great guy to play against. And I looked at his team, and I wasn't trying to be, sassy or anything on stream or whatever, but I looked at his team and I went, equipped. And then I said, okay. And then I placed King Killmonger next to my 2 Kongs and my Blackheart. And I played the rollout game too, because he had a Ghost Rider with rollouts, right? Ghost Rider, Headless Horseman, Arachnite, Brother Voodoo, right? He got to use all of his shape changes. He got to use all of his super senses. I got to use my King Killmonger rollout, which came into play a whole bunch. So eventually chewed through Ghost Rider in the finals, and then was able to, use the Battle Fury to some pretty great effect, and it was a really great time. So, but the big question is, and I'll have you help me answer this one. Peter Marshfield asked, Wesley Robertson also asked, why do you think the Poison Ivy didn't attend?
There wasn't a ton of people there. I don't know. Maybe the real counter that you need is a counter for Kong, because Kong seems to be more prevalent than Ivy.
Yeah, I think that's
maybe it was too soon after Origins for people to gather it up. I don't know.
Yeah, my thought was, I think there was 2 things. Is folks were thinking of the counter to the counter, and then and then there was too close after Origins, and they just didn't want to buy the 4 Roses for Red pet packs. I mean, they'd already...
Yeah, I don't think that one... I'm sure that one didn't sell quite as well as Kong.
Right. Yeah, they'd already bought their other teams, right? Like, I mean, people just don't have... Right. I understand Poison Ivy's cheap, but a lot of the things are like Poison Ivy, the Roses for Red is hard enough to acquire. In general, right? For somebody to just say they're going to drop $80 on Poison Ivies, I think they're like $20. They're $25 retail. Okay, then that's $100.
And then you're probably just not going to walk in somewhere and find 4 of them on the shelf that you can just buy, probably.
Right. So I think the other
not at this point.
I think the other thought there is the rings. I don't know how many times I have to preach this on when these things come out. I don't care if you don't buy the figures from that kind of set. Whenever they come out with ID cards, constructs, tarot cards, swords, equipments, you have to
gather that stuff up
immediately. Now, I know that because not everybody's a trading wizard like you are, Jason. You know.
Yeah, I had all the rings. Like, I had all of them, right?
Right.
And then, of course, it's getting close to retirement time, or so we think. So, yeah, I got rid of my red ring. So, like, I'm not going to play this.
Yeah.
Well, guess what?
You're likely to play it. You're likely to play it again.
No, I wish I hadn't. I didn't have it because I had it all this time and never.
Well, so I think that's the thing, right? Is like the red ring and the blue ring are really critical in the poison ivy build, and a lot of folks just can't acquire it. They just like you might have a whole play group that just doesn't have it, right?
Very possible.
And then they couldn't gather it up because it's I think a blue ring's like $40 now.
Yeah, I've still got my blue ring. I mean,
yeah.
I'm,
right, and I mean, but you can't just get that all in 2 weeks, right? I mean, it's a lot to put together in 2 weeks,
Maybe you could, maybe you couldn't.
Right. Well, it's
maybe I'm biased because I'm the trading wizard.
You are a little biased because you're the trading wizard, right? So, a lot of people like. Well, I mean, I give folks like they're not a trading wizard like you are, and like I know there's mooching house, right? But like,
not everybody wants to borrow stuff.
No, and I think a lot of people are worried about bothering. A lot of people are worried about borrowing stuff because, like, they know they don't have enough money to spend on it in case something were to break.
Right. And I get that.
So,
totally fair.
And those are all valid things, and so that's why I don't think Ivies didn't attend at the event. Not because they're not good. People just
that was 2 weeks after Origins, right?
And people just can't gather it up. I am fairly certain people are gathering it up for Gen Con.
And if had there been a larger turnout, there may have been something.
Yeah. Because Brandon Hogan asks me if you would have played against Denny's team with the team you played this weekend, how do you think you would have fared versus the team used at Origins? I mean, I have a specific plan with Black Hearts and Shields and Perplexes to get to the middle of the starting area on Morlock Tunnels. It doesn't require a tarot card to come up. It just happens. So... I think really I've only heard of one other team from Jack Smith that has a guaranteed alpha plan into the middle of the start zone on Morlock Tunnels. So I think as what we'll get into here is there's variants on the 4 Ivies that make it even better. Potentially. Could
have been other variants that could have been better, but
Yeah.
Poor Krakoa has to go back to the box.
Yeah, so let's talk so we'll talk Deadpool Weapon X erratas, but then a big thank you to Keith for putting together the event. He had to invest his money into renting the place and buying all of the product and getting it going and, committing to it. And Keith just did a great job.
Kudos to you for doing that.
Yeah, thank you so much. I wish there was, 50 more people there, but, thankful for what we did have. So let's talk Deadpool and Weapon X, erratas and clarifications. The first thing is... let's hold on a second. So Deadpool and Weapon X, what's going on with this set? There's been more quality control issues than I can remember. It's been a lot. Did it seem? How we had the theory that
they changed factories from set to set because some of the sculpts are really good, some of the sculpts are not so good.
Yeah.
Depending on what set you were talking about. Do you think they went down a notch to an even worse factory for this set?
Well, so here's.
I mean, we got misprinted rarity tabs. We got cards that are misprinted.
Here's my thought. Is that my theory is that I agree with that theory. My other theory is that anytime a set includes something extra,
like the dice,
like this case, I would blame the dice. That's kind of my thought, because if I look at like Wheels of Vengeance, and like it doesn't have much. It didn't have anything wrong with it, really. Like,
right, but it was only four figures per booster, right? So,
booster, but it was a custom booster pack, right? We had those, 4 figure with the Twinkies.
You had to get a Twinkie, right?
Yeah.
So that messes with the collation because there are only so many Twinkies.
Now that can mess with collation, but we really didn't have any collation issues with Wheels. I think that works because they had a set lined out to do it.
Yeah, probably so. But like, what's with all the rarity tabs being off? And next phase we had rarity tabs that were off. Well, so in this set,
here's the thing. I think there's a couple of issues. The first thing was with next phase, and these are just theories. These are just Daniel Powell theories. My first thought was. These sets have been the first sets with retail chase boosters.
Okay, there you go. That's fair.
So I think that's messing with it somewhat. It's messing with the runs of the inventory. Because the set itself, next phase, didn't have a ton of issues, really. It was
not as many as Deadpool.
It wasn't, because it was the first time they'd done these little pogs too, so all the pogs were messed up. Pretty much all the pogs.
The Ultra Chase is missing from boosters. I don't care what anybody else says.
By the way, Jason, we are 3 months since their announcement. There has not been anything else further announced about Kevin's, and they're not being included in the booster set. And
nobody in the community has come forth and saying they pulled one from a regular off-the-shelf booster from a brick.
That's because they haven't. They just
haven't.
So,
I mean, if somebody had, I think somebody would have said something.
Yep, for sure.
And I'm sure WizKids opened up a pallet of boosters and found Kevin in it, because they probably opened up a big-ass pile of retail chase boosters. Here's Kevin. Because we all know Kevin's in those.
Yes, exactly. So, but then if I go to the clarifications page and I look at Deadpool, it gets even worse. Because Deadpool has chase retail boosters. It has dice in there. And, so...
Way more pogs.
Way more pogs. All of the pogs have issues. Almost, again.
We have A and B figures, like Storm.
Yeah, Storm is taking the collation issues across the board, because Storm B is taking up the chase slot. And
Maureen apparently seems to be doing so also.
And then before someone says there's no guaranteed collation by WizKids.
Yes, we know.
We know. You know what? But there is patterns, and the patterns show what they intend. The numbers don't lie from a set with no errors or minimal errors. Like a regular 5-figure booster set without all this other junk. Like if I go back to Modern Age real quick, Jason, just as a comparison. Like if I just scroll down to X-Men X of Swords.
Okay.
There's almost no issues with that set. because it's stuff that they've gotten right. We've had ID cards, aka tarot cards, added to boosters. We've had equipment added to boosters, not in the place of a thing, but just
unlike Batman. But
right,
Batman was pretty generally okay though.
Yeah, so right, X-Men X of Swords was fine from a quality control standpoint. Now, the organized play had some issues with the cards. That they had rules issues, not quality control issues. But then you look at Avengers Forever.
Some quality control issues.
Oh, is that Alex?
Yeah,
it is Alex.
Hey.
So Avengers Forever had a few, but that was more of the issues with the cards being printed.
Is this... Well, so I guess my question is, I'm looking also at, how many figures there were. That's the other thing I'm thinking about. X of Swords had... It looks like a lot of figures, but not, because they're counting all the swords and the tarot cards when you're looking at, HC units. But if I remember correctly, the main set was small, right? Wasn't it smaller than normal?
The slop was. The regular set wasn't, though.
I thought the regular set was smaller.
The regular set went...
Maybe I'm wrong. I felt like it was slightly smaller, because it came out around the same time as... they went back and forth. They pulled...
The regular set went to 64 figures.
Yeah, the regular set, to be clear, of X of Swords was just a regular set. I don't know how to explain that necessarily, or
So it didn't have anything extra except the tarot.
That's right.
Cards.
Avengers Forever went to 64. Dormammu Red was the last one. X of Swords itself went to 64 as well, with Professor X being the last one.
Yeah, and Deadpool's at 70.
Yeah, Batman went to 63. Or 64. Okay. Batman went to 64.
So, it wasn't smaller. I guess in my head I was thinking it was smaller.
Well, it's because you're thinking about all those extra dice and stuff that you're getting. So, we're getting to
Notorious went to what? Notorious got all the way to... It was a mega set, right? Notorious was a mega set.
Yeah.
That's true. Yeah,
and it went to 75 with an Ultra Chase. And I don't remember that there was a lot of... Was there a lot of... I don't remember a lot of issues with that off the top of my head. Am I wrong?
No, I'm looking right now. So Avengers 60th... you know what? There are very few. But it was just a regular set with figures. We can include more figures just when we start doing all this extra other stuff that I think is the problem.
So, it makes me wonder how Collector's Trove will turn out.
Well, I mean...
So you saw the solicit, right? You know, you got a better chance of pulling the good shit, and you've got all this other stuff that's going to be in there.
We'll see.
And you got 12 boosters to a brick. You're just throwing all the rules out the window, right?
We'll see what happens, right? Is the proof in the pudding, right? Will they deliver on it? That's the question.
I'm gonna find out, because I have not bought sealed product in bricks in quite some time, right? But I think I'm in for the Collector's Trove. It's supposed to have all this good shit in it, right?
Yeah.
So, I know locally. My locals are talking the same thing. We're the concept of collectors and the way they've talked about it is hyping it up to where it's we're trying to get some more too.
Well, when did Spider-Man Beyond Amazing come out? That was
last year,
February 23 or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
That was the last brick that I bought. I bought one single brick of that. I didn't buy X of Swords. I didn't buy Avengers Forever. I did get one brick of Batman Team Up, so I bought those two back to back. But then I hadn't bought stuff for that for I don't know how long. They just turned me off with what they're selling. It's not worth buying the brick.
Yeah.
I mean, and I used to buy a case or two cases of everything. But then when the price hike happened, I just don't feel like the value hasn't been there.
Same thing with me, Jason. I used to buy 4 to 5 cases.
Well, also, I take it back. I forgot. I got a case of Avengers 60 because Avengers 60 was a hot set.
Yes.
So those are the only ones those are the only 3 like sets I've bought any like brick of in like the last 3 years.
Yeah, I used to buy 4 to 5 cases on release day.
The price hike
is a problem.
It was a problem. It didn't come with any value added. Like it just didn't. Yeah. The pandemic really fucked it up. I don't know.
Well, I think it's also they played around with what we got. Remember, because they played around with here's X of Swords. But it's not the full 5 figures, and then Batman. Well, you get 4 in a construct, which was fine because the constructs were worth money. But then it continued. Okay, here's Wheels. Well, that never felt like it was worth it. To this day, we still have Wheels boosters that I'm not super thrilled to go pick up. Cool set, cool figures, but like when you take one of the figures away,
seems like the worst value out of all of them to buy a booster of.
Well,
to me,
and then and now a case of Next Phase, is $155 because we know there's no Ultra Chase in there.
Right, and they're not. I don't care what they say, you're not going to find it in it. And if somebody pulls one out, I'll eat my words. But I
wouldn't say it's just because of the Ultra Chase. I would say it's also because all the chases are garbage except for 2,
except for 3.
Yeah, outside of the 3, so you're chasing those 3 and hoping you don't pull the other ones that are worth $40.
Yeah, I'm better off just buying the figure for a little less or around the cost of the freaking breaker case. Right?
Yeah.
I mean, if I want Conchu's $200. Well, why would I spend that on a case, hoping for the chance of hitting him when there's really nothing else in there but garbage I don't want? Well, I just buy what I want.
Yeah, I mean, if you look at other games, specifically, like I'm still knee deep into Lorcana, right? People still to this day, buy a bunch of boosters and boxes to chase enchanted cards because you get your money back for the most part for those. You could pull one enchanted card that's worth $300, $200, and you don't have that currently in Clix. Because they try with the Ultra Chases with Kevin, and it's like, well, okay, Kevin didn't show up, but what about the other ones, right? Like the Zod.
Yeah, that was seen quite a bit, I suppose. I mean, I didn't see one personally, but I've seen a lot of them on, online.
Yeah,
but I guess, but they're not like buku dollars for that either. Like,
which is okay, right? Like, because you don't want you want to be able to get your worth out of buying a brick, but you also don't want certain things to get astronomical to where you can't buy them, which I guess has happened, right? Like Carnage Silver Surfer's at $200 something or whatever, right? Like the benefit that one thing they have done well, to give them credit, is like some of the more popular, stronger characters have been iconics, which has a set price, and
that's the best thing they've done, and I don't know when.
And that might be why you feel like you don't need to buy bricks and stuff, because it's like, well, I can go buy the Kongs directly. I could buy the Ivies directly.
I love iconics. They're great. I feel like I'm getting my money's worth when I buy them. I know what I'm getting. They look cool. I'm not going to spend like $20 on it and get junk.
Yeah, so going back real quick to the errata clarifications point, one of the thoughts I have is, one, I don't play a lot of other games besides HeroClix and like Lorcana, and Lorcana doesn't have, well, they did their first errata today, and that was more of a balanced like watch list type errata, not oops, we wrote something down wrong. How many other games have as many errors like this?
So seems like every set we have some.
So here's the thing: this whole Daniel Powell theory that we've been talking about with all this for the past 20 minutes or so. It's my only way to think about it, other than the fact that The only other choice is like it's just that bad. Like the production quality and all of this is just that bad, and like I don't know if I want to accept that or not. So maybe I just come up with so maybe
why is it?
I don't know. Maybe I just need to be okay. Maybe I just need to accept that the quality and the production value is just that low. That all of this stuff is just coming out that badly.
I feel like it just tanked all of a sudden. I don't know why. Like, did you see the new Wolverine Iconics that came out? Did you see the stuff, like, with that? The sloppy paint jobs on them?
Yeah.
Like, that's the first Iconics that I've seen that has been that way.
Yep.
Like that, like I see, like our friend Ezekiel in our group, he bought one of those. Like it's like he has a really crappy paint. I can just look at the paint on these figures and tell it's worse than previous stuff. Like I've seen like one that just like didn't have any blue paint on Wolverine's hand, like for his glove. Like I don't know. That's the first of those I've seen that are that way, and that's a cool iconic set. It's got those figures are pretty good.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm still pumped for a lot of these iconics coming out. Like, and I'm glad that it wasn't just kind of a one hit. Yeah, we're doing some of these originals and then we're done. I like the fact that they're continuing with them and they do look good on shelves. And
well, it's just other stuff like even the distribution's weird, right? Like there's people getting the Wakandan Hulkbuster out there, right? I got that Butterfly iconic set like a month from WizKids themselves before it even came out, and like there's random stores getting the Wakandan Hulkbuster, and there's other people that don't have it. We don't even know when the fuck it's supposed to come out.
Yep.
And yeah, that's definitely an Alliance type diamond type thing.
Well, I get that
they've always had issues. Issues with release.
But I think it's just worse all of a sudden. I don't know.
The thing is yes, they've always had those issues. The problem is that they never get any better.
Well, I've talked to people about that, not necessarily just at WizKids, but well, what do you do necessarily? Like, they are the distributor. They're distributing your product, and there should be certain levels of quality, 100%. But at the same time, it's like there's a relationship there, right? Like they're your only option at this point, with probably for contractual reasons.
Yeah, so they have a street date. It shouldn't be that hard to follow.
Yeah, it's hard. It's hard to tell like how unusual this is without experience in other games, right? Like other games that do this, and there's not a lot of other games that do this. So do miniatures and a blind booster that go out. Like most of the people that do that is WizKids. So
I've played a lot of games over the years, and this is the only thing that I've seen this much trouble in.
Yeah.
So let's talk about some of the specific erratas for Deadpool Weapon X. So the rarity stuff, 017 Wolverine is an uncommon, Psylocke is a rare, Vox Ignis should have an invincible pink power in the defense slot on click 1 and 2. That's not great. Patch is a super rare, Wolverine pulls a super rare, Wolverine and LCD is a chase. Major Logan is the red starting line is 45 instead of 50.
Yeah, I do want to give a kudos out to like all the units pages, HC units, even HC realms, like had these erratas like in place quickly. And that was kind of annoying because I also don't remember what it was before.
Well, yeah, what did Vox Ignis have on his first 2 clicks before? On the actual printed dial, what's it have?
Nothing.
Okay.
Nothing.
Yeah, I wish the pages would also have on there, this is what I think Realms did it at some point.
They used to.
Yeah, like here's what it used to be before. Because every time I see these erratas, I'm like, oh, what did it like when we get to the legacy card?
And props to Clay for being on point with getting them on there.
So guys, I have a question. we've got the erratas for the set, right?
Mm-hmm. Right.
Time breakers can't make time breakers.
Oh yeah, where's that at?
Time breakers can't make time breakers, fellas. No need to worry about them. I'm obviously being facetious here.
You're talking about the POG, right?
Just the regular time breaker has 015 on it as well.
Oh, does it?
Yeah.
I mean, that's just like invincible in the damage slot, which is what the original version of the errata said before they fixed it.
But the time breaker POG got. Did the time breaker POG
got the right errata? It has the right one.
Yeah. Did it? Where's it at?
Yeah, it says 016 time breakers.
I don't see it on the errata page.
I see it. I'm looking at it.
Yeah, if you scroll all the way down to B005 timebreaker.
There it is.
Crystal Palace.
Okay, all right.
Game,
Sorry,
yeah.
sorry. I was not looking in the right spot.
So how did we not fix the regular one? And we can't even do the erratas and clarifications right.
And they need apparently like 2 weeks to prepare to pump this out. So, hey, I got a quick question. What was wrong with the Legacy Wolverine X and X23?
That was
Like, did it just not?
It was missing punctuation.
Okay.
I think
Because this was another issue of like I ran out to see what was wrong and all the websites were updated, so I was like, well, I guess I won't know. I guess I don't have to.
Yeah.
I mean, they just need a copywriter, I guess, an editor. Like, I don't know.
I mean, if it's all production, if it's for whatever reason it's production, like you've been doing it for 20 years. Like, let's.
Well, I mean, I assume there's somebody that's they're farming this out to somebody, right? They're not doing this themselves.
We all assume it's out in China or something. That's why
it's China. But like, here's the thing: like,
didn't we hear at some point that it goes over there and like it's translated into Chinese and then translated back into English or some shit like that? Like, didn't we hear that somewhere?
Probably. But I mean, the other thing is like, it can't all be on production. Like, how in the world did Daredevil get Hellas keywords? Like,
that had to be a copy paste there.
That had to have been.
Right.
I mean, I don't know. Like, it feels like we're bitching too much, but
I mean, we're on the WizKids shit list anyway, so you know.
It certainly feels that way a lot of times.
That's right, people. They don't like us.
We might as well jump. We could just
we used
jump
to we used to be cool, but not anymore.
We could jump to the biggest errata that we got.
We can.
We already jumped to that.
We already talked about it a little bit.
You did? Okay.
It's a clarification, not an errata. According to the page.
So, all right. So here I have a little thought prepared for Krakoa. So I looked at the Krakoa Legacy card this morning. It does not have the numbers 50 printed on it on purple. The purple starting line does exist on the dial on the card. But the number 50 is not printed on the card.
Now, is this the first one that they've had a line that they didn't put a point value on?
I think Carnage was missing one, or one of the other Retaliators was. Surtur, maybe?
Like, all the Retaliators that they've brought, all the Colossus they've brought back have all had a lower dial a low dial, right? That was less than this, right?
I can look real quick at the latest stuff here real quick. Surtur. Yeah, so Legacy card, Surtur. This card should have a purple starting line on click 20, but that tells me that it wasn't on the dial, it was printed. So, like, the number, whatever Surtur was, 25, was on the card, but there wasn't a line there. So this might be the first time we've gotten a line with no number. So if it's got a number but no line, it's fine. If it's got a line but no number, it's not going to get it.
So what was Hellcow? The card should indicate the green starting lines on click 6. Now, where on the Hellcow figure is the line? Do we know?
We talked about that. I feel like the line was right. The card was wrong.
The card was off? Is that what it was?
Yeah.
It was something like that.
Yeah, I mean,
the problem with
Hellcow got the one that we expected her to get.
Right.
I know it was something that we had talked about didn't match up.
We
Because it
thought
originally was
that
on
she was
5.
we thought we was going to be on 5, but she's on 6.
And I assume that's how the figure's printed is on.
Correct. She only had 2 clicks.
Is that way?
She only had 2 clicks when she was in modern. Yeah.
See, if we just take the not and the 1 out of this sentence, it's great. This card should have a purple starting line. The character's point value is 50. Solves all the problems.
Well, I think the biggest problem is
So-
that with legacy cards.
So hold on real quick,
Like-
Alex. Sorry. So I just wanted to say my thing here. So the logical person would say Krakoa didn't get a lower point value line because the number 50 was not printed on the legacy card itself. Just didn't
Right.
make it.
That's
what the logical person would say. But do you know?
that's kind of where I was going.
But
yeah.
do you know
The
what-
line's on the card, right? The line's on the card, though,
Right.
isn't it?
But you know what?
Yeah.
You know what the person with the tinfoil hat on says?
Oh, this is conspiracy theory time. I'm
Oh
ready.
man, this was a stealth edit to Ivy's. This was a stealth errata power level balancing for Ivy's. Right?
We'll never know. We'll never know.
We probably won't, but we could know, right? I mean, I don't know. This figure should not have a purple starting line. That's just a stealth power balancing for Ivy's. That's why. And I saw someone comment, I hope they didn't do this because they saw Ivy's. I don't know. They probably did. They probably didn't. Are we the logical person, or do we have a tinfoil hat on?
I mean, they don't test this stuff against other sets, right? So they had no idea that these work together, right?
I know you're being facetious. I mean, we are pretty certain that the testers test with.
Oh no. Yeah, testers do what? Go ahead, finish your sentence. Sorry.
They test things.
We know they test things, but do they test things against stuff that's not in the same set with it?
I think so. I think that they do, and I also think that sometimes tester feedback is overwritten to sell boosters.
Well, this sure shit didn't help sell anything.
Yeah. But,
Isn't this card supposed to be out of a? Is this supposed to be out of a? Is this out of the legacy card packs, or just in a box?
Krakoa was in a play at home kit, I think.
Oh, that sure didn't help selling that anyway.
Well, it did because we're like a week or two after.
See, I hadn't bought one of those
people did.
kits.
I didn't buy the kit.
kit.
I didn't buy the kit. I just bought the legacy card off eBay.
Yeah. So where did the 50 points come from? Because I'm totally confused on where the 50 points came from.
The digital preview for Krakoa.
So when that was previewed originally,
Yeah.
it was on there at 50 points.
And
So it didn't
just
just
get
get
printed.
So it didn't just get dreamed up.
Yeah, the problem is typically because it's a legacy card. That's the main reason.
Well, what
Because
I'm saying
usually you could compare the card to the dial and say, oh no, the dial's right. Oh no, the card's right. But in this case, it's like no, the card has to be right. It's the only reference you have for this character.
Well, the reason I'm saying that is because there's been a bunch of people online talking about, well, they didn't know where the 50 points came from, if somebody just made it up or whatever. I didn't know where it came from either because I don't remember seeing the digital preview or whatever.
Yeah, I'm trying to
For the
find.
card.
I don't know. We'd have to. I'm trying to see if I can find the digital preview.
Well, I've got Solaris and Starro screen caps, so if something's different, I have proof. But yeah, see now if it was on the digital preview, that means at one time they had a 50-point line. They had it there at one point.
We wouldn't have just come up with it, out of thin air, right? I mean, there's no way.
Well, that's what I thought. I was like, who's just going to make up that? I mean, that's how would you come to that conclusion? Yes, they know there's a purple line, but if it didn't have a number, how would you just come up with 50 points? I mean, just because it's a round number, whatever.
I wonder where the digital preview was at. Surely we can find it.
I feel like it was definitely later.
Yeah, there's no way that I'm going to just be able to find it here quickly while we're talking.
Yeah.
I also
somebody took it off on purpose.
Yeah, I also
just
decided to dig up my extras today, and I had an extra cocoa the day that it gets errata to not being worth a shit.
Yeah, I keep seeing your post pop up.
Yeah, you might as well take that down now.
Yeah. And you know what? I'll put it right back into the thing where it was before. Into the usual.
I mean, the poor guy sucked when he came out the first time, and he didn't even get a chance this time.
Yeah.
That just sucks.
Yeah, I'm looking for
for him.
I'm looking for where we found the digital preview. I mean, surely there has to be somebody out there that still has the picture saved about Krakoa.
Yeah, it's probably been taken off the web from wherever it was hosted at originally.
Yeah.
I mean, I would guess it was probably Dial H or something, right? Weren't they previewing a lot of this stuff anyway?
Yeah, I would say so.
Yeah, they probably would have been the one if I had to guess. I don't know where it came from. We don't get to do any of that kind of stuff anymore, so it definitely wasn't.
Oh, Jay.
And I missed, and I haven't watched any of the Scott Porter videos yet. I've only just seen all the figures. When is the next set supposed to drop?
I don't know if he said. I haven't watched the last two videos. I just caught all the card pictures people posted.
Because I'm scrolling through stuff and I see a bunch of Masters of Time things, and I'm like, oh yeah, that set's coming pretty soon. Like, I think the solicits still say July on it.
Yeah, somebody had mentioned that it was originally supposed to be in July, but I don't think that's going to happen.
Well, we know
they are talking about having Jurassic boosters as prizes at Gen Con. That's in literature they put out, so I assume that they have stuff stateside anyway.
Yeah, because they have currently on solicits. If I don't know if you guys went through this, they have on solicits that Masters of Time is July, and then the Collector's Trove, aka Black Panther booster brick, is
no. Well, Collector's Trove and Black Panther are not the same set.
Aren't they not?
No, they are not.
There's two sets?
Yes.
Well, Black Panther's in August.
Yeah, they're different sets.
What are we thinking? Time Masters comes out this month?
It could be end of the month. Wouldn't surprise me if end of the month we were doing pre-releases.
That's crazy to me.
Interesting.
Because that gives them 2 months for the next set for Worlds or something, right? Because I assume they're staging new sets that come out around Worlds time.
Yeah.
Which would be which should be collectors. That would make the most sense.
Black Panther's coming out next.
But we've heard nothing about Black Panther. Are we sure Black Panther's separate?
Yes, sir. I am positive. They just made an announcement about Collector's Trove.
Collector's Trove and Black Panther are different sets, yes.
Yes. There's set symbols for them on units right now. Different set symbols. So.
Convinced. I'm not convinced they didn't just ditch Black Panther.
I think Black Panther was the set that Howard was alluding to was going to be one of the prizes for states that they hadn't announced at that point in time.
And they'd already announced it. It was on one of their WizKids slideshows. We already knew about it.
Okay.
It wasn't anything secret.
Yeah, I thought we talked about there's some kind of deity bases, or I don't know. There's some kind of crazy thing on there.
Yeah, there is. Yeah,
whatever that was.
Yeah,
yeah. There's nothing in the wind about scheduling a pre-release for Masters of Time right now. I'm looking at it.
Maybe that's the biggest thing is we don't know when anything is coming out.
Well,
since Deadpool.
I mean, people were talking about there was issues with the solicit page doesn't show a release date, they're not getting updated. And then WizKids wrote back to them that they just needed to email the customer service people to find that out or something. So something's up. I don't know what it is, but something's different than it was.
Have we had
last year?
Have we had this crazy backup of sets
No.
before.
No,
Not
usually
since-
they're pushed back. But
Yeah.
Like, it wouldn't surprise me if Black Panther is punted till like winter, and they say, okay, here's Masters of Time. Masters of Time comes out late July, early August, and then we'll start doing collectors for Worlds. I know that's only a month later, but like, it won't be legal for Worlds, but it'll be like prizing, it'll be sealed, it'll be the battle royales. Who wouldn't want to do battle royales with the cool collectors set? And
we've
then
got what?
Black Panther's later.
We've got what, 2 sets this year, right? So next phase and now Deadpool, right? I mean,
Yeah,
we never get more than like 4 full sets a year, right?
unless like Collector Trove is like an almost like not a slop type thing, but like has taken the place of a slop in production wise, right? Like, here's your 4 sets a year, but here's your extra set that is the Collector's Trove.
I wonder if we
And-
made So So I'm looking at the Realms thread for Krakoa on this 50-point line. I'm still been on this 50-point line thing for you guys.
I've been looking, I can't find it.
So the Realms Dial on Evidence thread has 50 question mark on the Dial on Evidence. So did we just all collectively dream it up? I can't find the original picture anywhere. So
Somebody had the preview. I don't know who it was.
Is this like a Berenstain Bears situation? Like,
it might be.
It's the Mandela effect, right?
yeah,
That's what it's
Mandela
gotta be.
effect. I swear it was Berenstain Bears or Berenstain, whatever.
This has to be that, right?
It's got to be.
I mean, it's
So from the erratas perspective, I mean, I don't know. It's been awful. I mean, I just can't imagine if you didn't know about the win, like, and you were trying to play this stuff, like trying to get into the game, and you're like, oh, cool, I pulled a super rare Psylocke. I guess it would make you happier. Hey, I pulled another super rare Psylocke.
but it's not even a super rare.
Yeah, you
That's
should
the
be even
problem.
happier. Like, oh, I pulled a Chase Wolverine pull. Look how excited I am. All right. So, McConnell Lamar wants to know, what teams were you planning with Krakoa at 50 points? So,
Well, I mean,
Jay, we could just share. We could just share our team that we weren't going to be able to play, right? 4 Ivies, Harley, the Ellie Penguin that swapped out and brought in Krakoa.
that was one. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, that was probably the biggest. That was probably the most prevalent one. I mean, we had gone back and forth with a bunch of other stuff. But I mean, that was probably
just to make a theme to Gotham City Underworld.
Yeah. I mean, and I think making it theme, making Ivies, if Ivies go theme, even at a +3, it's pretty wild, because then your Porter teams only get a +1 on it, and that's not reliable enough percentage wise. So, I think probably that was the biggest thing we were building with Krakoa, McConnell, was Ivies.
I mean, he has to have plant markers for his power to work.
Yeah.
So you've got to pair him with somebody who's producing plant markers, be it Ivy or Man Thing. I mean, you got to have an Ivy because she just makes them every turn.
Yeah.
So, I mean, without that, it's not viable at all. Even at 50 points, like
even at 150, yeah.
I mean, I was thinking about like putting him with Man Thing and Ivies and stuff, together.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I don't know, but it's all moot now.
Yeah.
I'm looking at some of these other questions real quick. And then Paul Cote asked, have you been practicing with any Deadpool Weapon X figures? If so, which ones, and how are they doing? Well, we were practicing with Krakoa.
Yeah. Yeah, that's as far as I got.
So we've built some with Colossus.
Yeah.
I don't.
Yeah.
He's asked how it's doing. I don't think he's quite mobile enough.
I think it'll be better when just small maps are out there.
Yes, boy, I'm so ready for that.
We haven't got to try Prime Rogue yet.
No, we didn't try Prime Rogue. Prime Domino, unfortunately, we're super excited to play with her. But
So she just died to poison.
she just dies to poison, so she instantly became unplayable until Ivies are taken care of. So, you just run into an Ivy and Domino's not playable. So, those were probably the biggest ones we had started off with. I'm trying to think.
Everything else I want to play is like just gets killed by poison.
Well, I haven't got a Timebreaker Pog yet, but I haven't figured out a team that really needs Timebreaker Pog yet, so I haven't spent the money on it yet.
Well, Timebreakers just get racked up on points by a month's tomb, or they get poisoned to death.
Well, not unless they help you make the alpha first. If they aren't going to help you make the alpha, you just don't make them.
Yeah,
so,
that's true.
I think the other big standout that I've been building around with is King Deadpool and Elsa. Holding an object and being able to use prob is a big deal.
But they also get poisoned.
Yeah, but they have a longer dial at least. So
okay, they'll last 2 turns instead of 1. I'm sorry.
Well, that might be all they needed to last, though.
Maybe. I don't know. That just bugs me. I like them. I really like them.
Yeah. No, I get it.
I like Weapon X, the Chase Weapon X, but he doesn't have any kind of on his low die. He doesn't have any reducer.
Which one?
I like the Wolverine from the Iconics, but guess what? No reducers.
The sad thing is like outside of we've got just Nats at Gen Con and then Worlds, right? Like there's not a lot of significant events leading up to that. Like we don't have states this year.
Well, not till afterwards.
Yeah, not to pad the summer. So we've had to kind of the meta has a
regional
really
one here or there. Yeah, we have like a regional one here or there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So we're like kind of limping into nationals a little bit.
I liked last year having all the states events. That was nice in between. I get why they're doing it this year because of the pricing. That's great, but I guess having stuff to fill that void after Worlds would be cool too, though.
Why not both?
It wouldn't.
Yeah, right. Why not both? That's a good question.
Why?
It wouldn't surprise me to go back to their question. It would not surprise me if the winner of nationals, U.S. nationals, used some figure from Deadpool Weapon X. Like whether it's something where it's like people weren't expecting it, like we weren't really expecting how crazy Ivies were going to be.
Mm-hmm.
Someone has found some combo with some of these figures, and there just hasn't been enough tournaments to really, reveal it. Yeah, and they're going to be like, here's Weapon X with some shenanigans.
And that's great. If it is.
Yeah. Let it come out at Nationals, not at Worlds.
I'm all for, like, people making up new shit. That's awesome.
Yeah. Me too, but it's like, it's also like hiding and not having enough events to where these things just pop up at major events is not great either.
Yeah.
Right.
I mean, what happened to Kong at Origins? What did he meet up that he lost to?
Jalen just, so that's what I said. Isaac played Jalen.
And that lost with the Precision Strike.
And, they just had a normal game of HeroClix.
Mm-hmm. And he could get through Kong because he had Precision Strike.
Pretty much it. I mean, they just had a regular old normal game of HeroClix where Jalen had Precision Strike.
So I would say what happened to Kong is that there's been enough tournaments where people have started preparing for Kong. And so that's when Ivy appeared, and people didn't have enough time to prepare for Ivy.
Again, I'm just saying if Kong had got by whatever, he'd have beat the Ivies in the final, probably.
I strongly advise just saying, ooh, we haven't built around Ivy yet. And then, because people built for taking the big quake in their starting area by playing Ghost Rider and all this other stuff. You can't build around 4 poisons, one of them being a penetrating one, and 4 13 for 5s in your starting area. You cannot get rid of enough plant markers for it to make a difference.
Yeah, but we had gotten into a position to where point stats were so high, combat values were crazy high, that all teams were having to rely on, all right, I got shape change and super senses. I'm just going to have to trust to roll out because we don't have to deal with Necrosword anymore. Let's just have a shit ton of shape change and super senses, and let's just roll with that. And then that's why Poison is now incredibly more powerful, because there's not a lot of invincible that people are playing. People are playing.
That's very true.
I mean, I get it, but
are we in that blender situation again?
Yes, we are.
I mean, that's why Kong was doing so well.
But one of the blenders attacks you from the start zone and you can't get to it. Just to be clear, that's one of the blenders.
But yeah, and I get it. There is things you can do to mitigate that somewhat, but yeah, and you're not stopping it.
Yeah, you're not stopping.
But
it's the same as just I'm going to use the emotional modifier to give everyone Battle Fury.
Yeah, that's a 10-point counter. Other than the entire team needing to be constructed differently.
I mean, you can't just play a team with a bunch of guys that don't have reducers now, right? I mean,
you can spread out, can't you? Technically,
no.
I don't think they think they still get around that. I mean,
yeah. I mean,
wouldn't they have to choose one direction to go towards?
No, they poison through all the markers.
They poison through all of the markers.
Right, I know, but I'm talking like a big map to reach the other side. They would need to use most of their markers turn 2 to get there, right?
No, they stay, so they come up the middle first turn, and then they can branch off in whatever direction.
Right, that's what I'm saying. Like, they would have to branch off. Like, if you had your team on either side,
you can go both ways, like at the same time.
Turn? Oh, yeah, at the same time. Okay.
Yeah. Like you're already in the middle, right? So you can have 2 go off each direction, like 4 squares apart from each other everywhere. So you're covering a ton of ground.
Yep.
Like, or you play Man Thing, and you've already got a bunch up there, and then you're just shooting off of those, like 2 turns or something. They're everywhere.
Mm-hmm.
It's every gardener's worst nightmare.
Mm-hmm. Indeed, Alex. It upset me so much I bought another antique garden tractor to just quell the pain.
And you just went out there and just started cutting plants out of spite. And you're like, take this, plant markers.
Yeah, I'm going to mow my yard tomorrow, and I'm going to relish every blade of grass that gets thrown out of the mower. Like, I wished somebody had played it this weekend in Indy where I was able to stream it. And
I just feel like it's gonna. Yeah, it's not. I don't know. Maybe it's gonna be one of those overshot things. We think it's horrible.
Maybe it is. You're right, Jason. Maybe it is. Maybe it's just one of those things where we're just off our weekend. It's we're off our rocker. It's not that great, right? Brah brah brah. Those Clixed Off guys. Brah brah brah.
I'm not saying that. I'm just saying it's been talked about so much, so maybe everybody just plays the counter to it, and everybody plays that. You know what I mean? Right.
I get it. I mean, I hope that's what happens, but I mean,
or maybe it ain't. I don't know.
I mean, I don't know either. I think the thing is like there's other people that are taking a look at this Ivies and are like, man, maybe I can do this or that and make it a little bit better. Do this or that and make it a little bit harder to get to them. Right? Throw a little bit of this, throw a little bit of that. Right? Like, play around with these last points. Make it a little bit harder. Maybe I get to go first. If that team just gets to go first, like, it just wipes things. Like, the only negative from Denny's team was that it was unthemed. And so most teams got to go first against it. If it goes first, it's attacking you. There's almost nothing you can do about it. And I'm not saying there's nothing. There's almost nothing that you can do about it.
Maybe that's what it needs.
So, needless to say, stay tuned to Dan's TikTok page this weekend when he mows his yard.
Yes.
There'll probably be some hilarious TikTok out there.
Maybe.
I want to see a video of you mowing down ivies in your lawnmower.
Right. Well, I tell you what, if you know what, I have
get some cheap ass common ivies and like just fucking mow them down.
You know what? Is there even any common poison ivy that I would have a bunch of?
Probably the jumpsuit ones, but they don't look like those.
What was the figure that we melted, or Sam melted on video?
So I melted a Professor X Dreamer because he was so bad, and then Sam melted a Goblin King because playing an OMA was lazy at that time, is what she thought.
You might have the Batman animated. There was a common poison ivy there, and a rare.
I might have that one. I'd have to look, but I might have the uncommon poison ivy from Batman Team Up. That would be the only.
And get a Harley, and make sure you get a cheap Harley too, because you got to have that. And just put them all out there in formation and just go over.
Let me look and
it's all fun and games until he cuts it and it like goes up into his mower or something and breaks his mower.
That's even more perfect.
So talk of Dan screaming into the sky. Why?
So
I'm not even safe at home.
So
it's the most viewed YouTube video we have ever.
First of all, my mower can handle some HeroClix. That's not a problem. I'm looking to see the most. It's gotta be an ivy that looks like an ivy, right? Right. The jumpsuit from Batman Team Up does not look like an ivy.
Your Batman animated is probably your best bet.
I'm looking to see if there's any cheaper than 99 cents a piece. But I will say this: people get extremely upset, by the way, when you destroy HeroClix. I want to be clear.
Oh man,
I'd never gotten so much hate mail as when I destroyed that Professor X Dreamer, and then Sam melted that Goblin King. They're like, "What are you doing?
Oh, that's what it.
What
that's
are you
what
doing?
It was. Yeah.
Like, oh my gosh, what are you doing?" And I'm like, well, first of all, it's my HeroClix. I can do what I want with it. It looks like the World's Finest 007A might be the closest one. But I tell you what, it would be $10 plus shipping to get them. So I tell you what, if anybody would like to sponsor it, it's $14.
Live on Facebook, live on YouTube. Let's go.
That's right. It would be $14 for me to do 10 of them. If anybody would like to sponsor it, that way we can say it wasn't us that did it. It was Jimmy Bob Joe sponsored stream of the hate of the poison ivies, and you can even choose whether you can either choose whether you want them mowed by the zero turn, or if you want them ran over with any of the other bigger tractors. I can just squish them, run them over, do both, whatever. You sponsor it out there. You can choose how the 10 poison ivies are KO'd.
I feel like this needs to be a contest. Right?
It's not a contest. It's just if you want to sponsor or if you want to mail me 10 poison ivies, however you want to do it. If you want to mail me 10 poison ivies or something like that, I will gladly accept the sponsored stream.
Now I'm imagining Dan live streaming, like just playing HeroClix, and someone donates $10, so he has to get up and like pull out a poison ivy and smash it with a hammer, like every time someone like hits the donation level. And he's just got like a huge box.
If you're on the mower, you got to wear the overalls and the Infinity Gauntlet, like while you're doing it.
I tell you what, that might require a little bit more of a sponsorship than just the Poison Ivies. Look. I'll put a price on it. If you buy the Poison Ivies and get them to me, or donate to get the Poison Ivies bought, that gets you how they be destroyed, right? Like whether you want the zero turn or ran over with a tractor. Those are your two options. If you want me to dress up, it's it's $10 for the overalls and another $10 for the gauntlet.
Dan, you don't happen to know anybody with a hydraulic press, do you?
I do.
Oh man,
I do. We have one on the farm. So
that's a whole new revenue stream.
It's not the power kind. It's the hand jack kind. So it's not quite as thrilling.
No, that's even better. I can't imagine like a better like thing for like making like TikToks or whatever. Except you with this evil gleam in your eyes, you're like pressing it down by hand and like squishing them all.
Yes. Yes. And what will be even better, and out of all of that, is I'll have to explain to my dad what I'm doing.
Dad, trust me. Someone spent $100 on this. Just let me do it.
This shit just keeps getting better. It just writes itself.
It does. It does. So if you would like to sponsor any of that, supply the clicks, and we'll talk about it. Because I'm not just going around and doing this stuff for free, because shit gets expensive fast. So
we're missing out on this hydraulic press market.
I've enjoyed this way too much.
Oh no, it's been fun. I have been too. Well, you're not the one that has to dress up.
There's a guy on TikTok that's all he does is squish shit in a hydraulic press. It's like I watch those videos all the time.
Yeah,
they're fascinating. Like,
look. There's more options, right? If you want to go to a truck or a large farm tractor, look, the sky's the limit. It's only limited by your donation wallet. So, if you'd like to see one plowed into the dirt, you can arrange that as well. Trust me, the wilder your imagination gets, the opener your walleter has to get her. But yes, I would be glad to mow down some ivies for a relatively cheap amount. So if somebody would like to sponsor that, I would be glad to do that. That way, again, we don't get the hate mail. We can just be like, so-and-so sponsored this. We are here to please our fans.
It don't matter what we do. We're going to get some kind of hate something for it. It don't matter.
Right. People can't even listen to the podcast clearly and understand whenever you say something very clearly. So, anyways, all right. So, Paul, that is the answer to have we been practicing with any Deadpool Weapon X figures. So we do have a couple other things to talk about. First of all, is a shout out for Peter Marshfield to his last chance practice event before Gen Con on July 27th. It is a 300 Modern Rock qualifier located in Cuyahoga Falls, Ohio. And then they have Battle Royals. First place gets the neoprene map, 2 convention exclusives, 50 rock points, 1 pair of rock dice. It's the qualifier prizing from the rock. An additional pricing depending on how many people show up, of course. So be sure to check out Peter's event in Cuyahoga, Ohio, at the end of this month on July 27th.
No one's gonna know where that is, so
I'm pretty sure if you ask. Hold on. Wait a minute.
Is that the correct pronunciation of it?
No idea. Hold on. Hey Siri. Can you give me directions to Cuyahoga, Ohio?
I don't see any matching places. Sorry about that.
Okay. She doesn't see any matching places. I guess it doesn't exist.
Yep. Oh well. You
Um,
tried.
So, we've been... Jason got us off on a 20-minute tangent about...
I'm sorry. I've
okay.
enjoyed that way too much.
I can't even focus now to think about the Time Master stuff.
I'm assuming since I came late, you guys did talk about worlds, right?
Yes, the hotels are up.
The hotels are. We did say that, yes.
And the TCB package.
Yeah.
Okay. We didn't mention the TCB package.
It's up.
We didn't talk about.
Yeah, we didn't say it specifically. I don't know if the TCB package is worth the money this year. If you've been going for multiple years, it is certainly.
I think
worth
it's
it.
probably there's nothing brand new. Or Cyclops is in it, right?
It's
But,
certainly worth it if you are new and haven't been.
that was a missed opportunity for a brood.
Yeah, for those that don't know, it's Venom, God of Symbiote, Cyclops, King Arthur are the 3 figures you're getting, and the entry into the Battle Royale.
Yeah.
So it's not bad. $30 for those 3 figures.
It's not a bad deal. It's a good deal. Don't get me wrong.
It's a great deal. It's more than a good deal. It's a great deal. Do you know what is a really great deal in Memphis, though?
What?
Cookout.
True.
So, just man, I tell you what. So on a lot of folks' commutes to or drives into Memphis, there's not a Buc-ee's nearby in Memphis, but there is a Cookout close to Graceland, and much like Buc-ee's for Rock Cup being a must-attend or a must-go-to place, Cookout is a must-go-to restaurant in Memphis because you can get a corn dog as a side for your cheeseburger. And it is amazing. You can get a chicken quesadilla as a side to your chicken quesadilla meal. So, Cookout is amazing.
Load up on the goodness.
Yep. So, the TCB package is great for $49. I mean, Venom God of Symbiotes is worth it. The Cyclops is probably worth it. We don't know. We haven't seen the dial. And then the King Arthur figure. But if this is your 4th year of going, the Elvis Experience Tour ticket doesn't give you a lot of value unless you want to do that every year.
I still haven't done that. I still need to do that.
I haven't either.
By the way, we have seen the Cyclops.
We did.
We have seen him, yes. He hasn't been out.
Right, yeah. He's not that great.
What is he?
Yeah, he came out with the Brood. It was Scott Porter did it on his big stream ahead of the HeroClix Remingtons.
Is he?
Yeah, I saw the V to the stream.
Is he that bad?
He's okay.
He's not great.
He's running shot energy explosion.
Yeah, he has this Zark power, but he only gets that on the last 4 clicks. So it's like, cool. You should have had that the whole dial.
Is Zark kind of like Zoinkers? Zoinkies?
I guess it's the sound his visor makes when it's full blast. Maybe they used that in the comics.
Yeah,
but no, he's okay.
Is he a viable?
Yeah, I mean, he's a winnable.
Ugh.
But I mean, we're buying him in the TCB, so
I'm just saying that for the Brood to be a generic that you want multiples of, this would have been a good opportunity to put them out there.
Yeah. I tell you what. Other than I do want to cover one thing with the new set, and I want to talk about the trick arrows real quick.
Oh man,
but everything else we can save for later. So let's just talk trick arrows for the remainder of this episode because we're already running kind of late for us. So I'm pulling up the pictures that you sent. So we do get a new set of trick arrows in the Time Master set. There are 6 of them this time, we do believe. The boxing glove is on reveal. Knock back the hit character 6 squares and increase any knockback damage they would be dealt by +1. The fountain pen is Mern. Choose a hit character until your next turn. Lines of fire drawn to that character by friendly characters can't be blocked. How exciting is that? Hypnotic is essentially mind control.
Yeah.
I'm not going to read it all because it's really long. It's essentially mind control. Read the
But it gets
card.
around Battle Fury, though, right?
Correct. It does get around Battle Fury. And then there's the stun trick arrow. Choose a hit character. The character can't use speed or attack powers until your next turn. And then there's the Phantom Zone. Choose a hit character after resolutions. Place the chosen character in their starting area. Then the Nth Metal. Choose a hit character until your next turn. The chosen character can't use team abilities or stop. So our good friend Hawkeye and Hawkeye would make their first attack, drop the big arrow, quake, use the nth metal arrow, and then drop the too dangerous arrow. Is it too dangerous that does the 3 damage? Whichever one does the 3 damage on their last attack. So these are insane. Hopefully they are distributed as well as the next phase ones, because you need 3 of them again.
Maybe we need Harley to keep Hawkeye in check. I don't know. Poisoning the dead.
What happened to mine when I played against it. I do like the trick arrow fountain pen. That's huge.
I think it's clever.
Yeah. But it's not, it's because the big thing is it's not instead of normal damage. So it's just it's an additional thing that you get to do for goodness. Right? These things are nuts. Again, trick arrows are nuts. All I have to say is I am clutching my King Killmonger very closely until he retires.
And he won't be around long enough to save us from these, unfortunately.
No. We have not seen a retirement announcement that we do expect by now.
It seems a little late for that.
I know. I think we say that every year. Let me look up and see when the last one was. 2023 HeroClix retirement. You know what? It didn't come out until August 14th last year.
Yeah. So we were shocked. I remember.
Okay. I retract my statement.
Yeah. And no one can really complain about like the booking of the room either, because it came out last year, July 14th.
I think the thing is for me is that like it's consistent, but I would really like it to be sooner.
Agreed.
That's fair. Yeah.
Maybe they're discussing something crazy. Who knows?
Do we want to leave some of the big maps out there?
They just all need to be swept out.
Oh my gosh!
At one time.
Please, no big maps.
Are we really ready for tarot cards to rotate? I'm not sure. Oh man!
I really hope whenever I did that, somebody else doesn't have the thing where they puke with other people when they do it. So sorry if my retching got you going, folks. I was going to look and see win.wizkids.com, more rules forum, modern age legal map list. So the Panther Fieldhouse, Barnstable, Red Mines, all of that's big. And then Racer Motors, Randy's Marsh, and the Critical Clix are the big ones. So those 4 would get a shorter time in Modern if they went ahead and got rid of them all.
Well, we don't mind having short times in Modern.
Yeah, that has not been a problem for WizKids the past couple of years. But I'm asking to us in general, are we okay with those 4 maps having a shorter time in Modern? I want Alex to answer first.
Am I okay with it? Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah,
I don't care.
Same here. Wow. Are we that easily in agreement on something that we just all want big maps to go away?
We've been campaigning for this for a while.
I know.
Because they were mostly obtained via rock anyway, and they'll still be legal for rock stuff because it's Silver Age. So it's really only the WizKids Modern events. And once rotation happens, we should theoretically be now to only the figures that were built with short maps in mind. So,
except for the legacy figures that have 10 range that they keep releasing.
No.
Shh. Don't talk about
it. It's okay.
Don't talk about it.
It's okay.
Don't talk about it.
I'm ready for them to just be like, hey, yeah, we're going to go up 2 short maps, so that means Batman Team Up's going to stay legal 1 more year.
Yeah. I mean, I would get another year out of my Avengers 60th, right? In Carnage.
I'm not opposed to that at all.
Because we did have the smallest Modern we've ever had after last year.
Yeah. And
we're finally back now to like, sizable. It's reasonable now.
Yeah. I mean, I think I'm okay with another year of Batman Team Up, Spider-Man, and the MOE chase.
Avengers 60?
Yeah, I'm okay with that.
Be interesting to see with no tarot cards. I don't think anyone is going to really complain tarot cards would go.
No. But we don't know for sure because we haven't seen the announcement yet. So let's go in and look at a few more questions. Make sure we got to hit all the high points here. Jack asked about the trick arrows. Manny asked about which pods are you in.
Saturday.
A nap pod, I think. The BattleTech pods. Yeah. It's Thursday. It's always Thursday for me.
Saturday.
We answered McConnell. We'll talk about Pulp again here in a little bit. We need to get a Pulp episode in before Gen Con. So, Camden Sloan. We talked about Krakoa. Is it easier to build with plants in mind? No. They just attack a bunch from across the map, Camden. So the Power Eraser doesn't make them any less stronger because we never got to see them played with the Power Eraser. Don Springer, I don't have an answer for your Elsa D not a part of the factory set thing. Answered Brandon, answered Alex, answered Wesley, both questions. Answered Peter, mostly. Richard Shaw, we talked about the DC trick arrows, and we answered Paul. So, yeah, if we didn't fully answer your question, we're going to have to answer some more. We've got another show to do, so. Final thoughts, Alex.
I'd like to know when some of these sets are going to come out. It'd be nice if they just made an announcement that said Masters of Time will be out. It won't be legal for Nats, but it'll be legal for Worlds. And then these other 2 sets are coming later.
Yeah. Jason?
Big Monkey Smash Plants.
Yep. And you know what? my final thoughts are, you know what? It may seem like I was joking. If you want to sponsor a stream with the poison ivies, I'm really not. I'm just not going to pay for it myself. So, if you want a sponsored stream of getting ivies ran over and ran through the mower or some other larger piece of farm equipment, we can talk about how much that's going to cost you. It's kind of like having a feet finder or an OnlyFans, but you don't lose your dignity. Thanks everybody for listening to Clixed Off today. We'll talk to y'all next time.
Yeah.
Later.